Okay, let's get the show on the road. I suppose we'll see if anyone joins. Let's put this over here for now. Could have used one of those stands, I guess. Okay. Just getting things sort of started, I suppose. Suppose the movement is wrong at the moment, so that one is over. Point you in that direction, I guess. Then you use the measurement for distance. Okay. I wonder how much we can do in an hour. I mean, if nothing else, I enjoy this moving around because it's fun. Just, I suppose, a good sign. It really would be good if it told you when that was. Problem is an invalid move, but for that I need pathfinding and I don't have that yet. I suppose you could just crash into the wall. It would kind of let you. Zoom, zoom, zoom. That's fun. Okay. Don't know how readable my screen's going to be. It's going to be fine, probably. Okay, so I build that into the model. His favorites. But it's can't valid nerves. It should be Calculate valid moves. So, I've got a couple different cases. The speed is 0. Then otherwise, we do the other thing. My code base is a bit of a mess, but it's built on top of a bunch of other stuff, so yeah. I really should pull this stuff out. Into X. Right, so it's not map based, it's just X, I guess. Maybe not though, maybe that's a step too. No, I do want it available just because it's library code. Okay, so returns its results like that. And then we can basically yonk all of that, results equal. We need the variable. Okay. That shouldn't have broken anything, so let's see if that worked. And it broke something, of course. That happens a lot. You sort of rename something and then... Cool, that's nicely refactored now. So... I want to get actor, but well, there'll be one, wouldn't it? Because we're just starting off. Sorry, I'm not really talking that much. Well, not really explaining what I'm doing exactly, so if anyone is going to drop in, they'll have no idea. But we'll see as we go. Hexagons do add a lot of complications to the sort of things I'm used to doing, so this is going to take me longer than normal, but it's fine. Yeah, I think that's right, because then not. I don't really want it so that you can select your current location as a movement point. That would be really bad. So let's not do that. I'm just checking my stream audio. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. Let's see how my. Sorry, it's. I've got it up on my phone, but I'm not always sure that it's actually going to behave. I've never done this before, so. Well, that's not true, but not done this recently. I did this a couple of years ago. Streamed some stuff for Ludum Dare, one of them. Although it wasn't my best work ever, so. Okay. So then. So if the mouse is the one being picked, then I can do the rest of this stuff probably. Figure out how far we need to move. Suppose most of that works out okay. be honest, I can probably drop a lot of this stuff now. Because it's basically the same thing as above. So make the hex blender. Okay. Just sorting out something on the Dome Discord. Right. Right, so that I think. Pause selection. Alright. Let's check my things. Okay. Probably broke a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I did. Okay. Most likely that's because couldn't do that. Oh, I named it wrong. It's probably a sign of a bad name, but there we are. Oh, that at least sort of what. Oh, okay. That is much closer to what I wanted. Except, of course, I want to change the sizing. Move like that, and move like that, and move like that, and oh, there we go. That is the movement that we want. Except, of course, that these moves become impossible and you're stuck, so it kind of has to reset when you can't move anymore. But that is not too bad. Bam. Because then the idea is that you can kind of steer. Yeah, because you move like that. I guess that's fine. What's that? So I'm moving at a speed of 2 there, but then these are 3s, but you'd be speeding up to go over here. Because you're 1, 2, 3 away. Yeah. But then to slow down, you can pick that one again. You can see the speed up in the corner. Okay. That is actually something I'm quite happy about. Because then you can really slow down and do the small circles. Pretty. Ah! That I am very proud of. Okay. Let's cover that. Very good, very good. That was genuinely the whole goal of this stream, so I don't know what to do now. Yeah. I'm just gonna click around with it for a bit and see if I can break it. I mean, it'd be good if you didn't just crash into something and then get totally stuck. Which could happen if you're moving fast enough and then it doesn't really detect that you crashed. Because you can move to a valid spot, but it needs to detect where it's trying to put you is valid. So, yeah, if none of those are valid spots, then it should. Okay, so I kind of have to push this back down to the model when it figures this stuff out. Because then I need to emit a crash event for the vehicle. Still, I can correct it by doing that. Because I've got buttons that do this stuff too, because that's kind of cool. But it keeps the direction that you moved in. That's interesting. So yeah, I mean that's fine, right? Because you're still moving two spaces to do that sort of thing. My query here is about the fact that the hexes here are flat-topped, but so the natural movement is these two spaces to go further up to these two. But this is technically valid because of the way this is set up at the moment, so because of the direction that we moved and things. I think that's alright. I mean, the point of this was to get sort of circular kind of movement, and that sort of works. And then you can really speed up, and then you crash. And then you kind of are stuck, so it is sort of like crashing. It's just useless game experience. Okay, but then we can do that again. This is surprisingly cool. It also tells me that this map is probably not big enough because you crash really easily at top speeds. Okay, so... Hey! How's it going, Ruby? Just clicking about at the moment. I'm not actually sure if my audio is working, so... Oh, it must be. Nice. Fantastic. Trying out a microphone that I have but have never really used, so... Glad that it's coming through fairly well. I suppose it would be good to just have like a break button for testing how that works. And at some point I'm going to do art for this as well, but I'm going to do that now. Yeah, this is my Game Boy Advance cover jam game. So this is ALLNIGHTER, which the hope is to be a turn-based racing game. Figure that out. I am actually just really enjoying clicking and moving around, so I guess that's a good sign for this. And I crashed. Right. Let's look at that. What do I want to do there? So what it needs to do is in the player move over here, I basically need to do so at this point we know what the new speed is, and we know if okay, so I need to go up to the top and bring my hexagon library. Totally spell surrounding, good job. Going out. Oh, that's the destination, isn't it? So, really what I need is another any. So, do we even need the var? Yeah, these can be quite time consuming. I mean, the fact that it's a month long helps because at least I don't have to try and cram it all into one weekend and clear it to do that. Plus, this jam in particular is meant to be very casual, so you can sort of submit stuff afterwards and all sorts. So I like this one. I've done it a few times now, to varying levels of success. Yeah, plus it's been a while since I've made anything, so it's a good excuse to put Dome through its paces as well. This does push it a little bit. Trying to draw hexes and stuff isn't really what it's built for, but I haven't got a good way of fixing that right now. What's it doing? So, I actually wanted to check if it's a valid move, so I kind of need to combine these two getters at some point, but so if any of these are valid in that they're not occupied, then we need to emit a thing. How do I emit stuff again? I've done this for a while. Result dot. No, there's a. Yeah, there we are. Okay. I guess we set the speed back to 0 so that you can start again as well, and then I have to go and create a crash event. I don't think there's any particularly useful information. There's a lot of weird indirectional bits like that, but it works. Okay, because then we go back over to the view. I suppose it doesn't really matter. That will just work, hopefully. But it won't be pretty. Oh, nope, I broke it. Oh, it's because I didn't import the thing, did I? What's a crash event? I don't know. Okay. Just double check my brackets. Oh. Oh, that's weirdly not the right syntax, is it? What was I thinking? Okay, so. Oh. That didn't work. Oh, I might as well do this the other way. Is it all? Is that how that works? Let's go check the docs. Because I always forget how the sequence works. Yeah, it's all. Cool. Right. So if all of these are solid, that's more natural, isn't it? If all of them are invalid, then. Oh, but it's not actually all of that's okay. That's wrong. I see. You have to project this. Plus. Like that. One, going two, going three. That's a valid move, but then I crash. Two, no, three. So I can't pick that one. I can pick that one. I can pick that one. But it lets you pick there, so you don't consider it crashing. That's good. Turn around, go that way, and then I crash. Okay, that's working. Fantastic. That is much better. I mean, it's ugly as heck, but I haven't got to the art yet. I needed to make it work first. That's my motto. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Thanks, werewolf. Hello there. Crashed again. That's bad. I suppose it's all happening fairly fast under the hood, so you don't see it. That's right. Yeah, I'm doing okay. It's been a bit of a day, but I'm doing all right. Pretty relaxed at the moment. It's a bit weird to just be talking to myself while I code. I'm normally pretty silent, so this is an experiment. But I'm pretty happy to have got this all working. Oh, I crashed? Oh yeah, I would have, because, well, I suppose, okay, so it's not perfect here because you crash, but you could have probably still moved into the barrier? Well, yeah, I mean, I am technically talking to you all. I mean, for the first bit, I wasn't talking to anybody, so. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. So, let me see if I can replicate that and explain it again. So, it's going to get quite difficult to do properly. Okay. like that. No, there's not an easy way to show you. Right, so yeah, debug code, cool. Yeah, so this is what happens. Let me see if I can reset that and show it again. So the idea of this, yeah, here's hoping it gets easier. I'm probably going to try and do this once a week at least while I'm working on this game. I'm not sure what will happen afterwards. Right. So you get up to speed, but then technically the position where you'd be able to move to would be over here on the screen. But because it's not valid, you count as crashing. The problem with that is that you crash, but it doesn't actually move you up to the barrier here. So you just stop early, which sucks. Ideally, you'd hit the wall and then crash. So really what it needs to do is project along that line until it hits a point where you can actually be, and then put you there. Right. I honestly wasn't expecting the player move to be that much work, but here we are. Okay, so I need the line. Oh, I actually have a whole function that does this already. Get line. Look at that. So I'm just going to grab this stuff. Ugh. Gradually getting better at using Vim as well while I do this. Like that. And go dot position. Well, it would be dest here. Projection. Yeah, I use Vim. If I'm doing stuff in the terminal generally, or anything to do with Dome, I use Vim. If I'm working on stuff for work, I have to use IntelliJ because I need autocomplete. Because I work in Kotlin and TypeScript and stuff, and it's unpleasant, but I like working in the terminal and just sort of getting it through like this. There's something fun about it. And I've been using Vim since university now, so they kind of made us, not quite made us, but yeah, anyway. So I'm like not a beginner with Vim, but I'm no expert either. I'm sort of mid-level. Gradually though, gradually. Over time. It does take time to get to use, and there are some tricks that you can use to force yourself to get better, but it still doesn't come completely naturally to me. It did give me a couple of things though. Well, yeah, that's true. You don't need to be the best, you just need to try, and that's true. And that's actually really important. In general, I mean, it's more than that. The thought in my head is that you don't want to be paralyzed by stuff either. You should start just because you should try. Don't be paralyzed by the fear of not being able to do the thing. A lot of people don't pick up Vim or whatever tool because they don't think they can use it, but you don't learn until you try. What was I doing? So I need to go. Oh, do I want to project it backwards though? So I need to flip those because I think that this function will give it in the right order. So we do x like that. Turn.was equals. Yeah. Jeez, 5 years ago. Where was I 5 years ago? I was just graduating university. So, wait, is that right? Jesus. What year is it? Yeah, I would have. Well, no, at this point. Oh, no, I would have literally just graduated and started my first job. Jesus. Wow. Sorry. I've been a professional developer now for 5 years. That's crazy. Okay, so that sets that properly. I don't need the speed like that. That stuff is there. Let's see if that works without breaking it. Okay. Right. Oh, misspelled it. Okay. So. Hey, that snapped to the corner, which it wasn't doing before. So I think this worked. That's brilliant. I'm happy with this. So I shouldn't be able to get myself to a position where I halt right before the barrier. And that seems okay. I probably need to start adding bits to the UI to make this clearer as to what's going on though. But this is still something quite cool that you don't really... I don't think anything really like this exists. At least as a game, digitally. But not really... I don't know, maybe there is something like this. It's technically a valid move, as is that, and you can kind of go around, so you can kind of steer around by doing that. I'm sorry, if it's not clear, I'm imagining that this thing here, this purple one, to be a race car or something. That's the idea of this, is it's like your Wipeout or F-Zero style hover vehicle in a futuristic racetrack. That's the gist of this game, at least. That's the plan. Kind of wish that I could see what I looked like on screen while I was doing this as well. Well, so the pitch of this game is kind of I sort of cheated slightly with regards to a game by its cover, the jam that I'm doing, because you're sort of meant, well, they're really casual about it, so it kind of isn't cheating, but you generally pick one cartridge from the Famicase exhibition, and you make it. And I was looking at it, and I found 4 or 5 different racing-based ideas, and some of them sounded really good, so I took the Neo Tokyo futuristic hover anti-grav vehicle thing from one cartridge. That's the ALLNIGHTER cartridge specifically. But I borrowed the turn-based racing aspect from another cartridge, because I thought that sounded really interesting and something that I could probably make with my 2D engine that I have here. So And it's different from things I've made before. This is a pretty serious departure from the kind of games I normally would make, which is a good thing as well. Always be learning. I try and make something new every time with regards to game style. Although, I mean, there's only so much you can do with a 2D interface, I suppose. But this does work in my brains. That's good. Sorry, I'm probably not making much sense half the time. The bit that I'm sort of terrified about with this implementation is at some point I need to put like other vehicles into the game, and I have no idea how to code an AI for this. It's not even creating a novel experience, it's just something I've not necessarily done before. It's also that because this is Dome, the engine that I've built, well, that's a whole other discussion. Because, yeah, I sort of try to make different things with it every time I use it to make sure that there's nothing missing that I need to add later. Almost everything that goes into Dome is something that I have needed. That's the idea, that's the design philosophy that it follows. Because that way I know that it's useful and not just meaningless crusts that I'll break. So pretty much every game I've made with it is different. And there's a repo with different examples in as well. Because I really recommend it. I mean, it's definitely got its quirks as a language. Ren has got its quirks as a language, but you kind of gloss over them after a while and then it's no problem. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but I like it. I do enjoy working with it. And there are certain aspects of it that make it very pleasant to design APIs for. So, yeah, that's really important to me, actually, is the way that APIs get designed, because I try to make this stuff pretty natural for me to use, at least. And the core audience here, and if everyone else uses it, that's great too. I'm sort of babbling now. Okay. I'll just save this real quick. I suppose that's true. I mean, people probably get better at babbling about something interesting over time. It is a little bit weird, isn't it? I mean, and it's great. You're actually Ruby is the maintainer for Ren at the moment, and probably the other major user, I suppose. Is that fair to say? So I'm just checking a text here. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know how much Ren I've written. It can't be that much, though. There's a lot of C code. I mean, Dome is small in comparison to Lux, but there's a lot of C code running behind this. I mean, the other thing is that I sort of went insane and thought I'd re-implement half of SDL. Yeah, there's some things like that because of where we started. Okay. What do I want to do next? So that was really the main goal of tonight, was just fix my movement to look and behave the way I've sort of imagined it. So let me just check my checklist. Not bothering with camera. I've got one vehicle movement down. I guess I can just do a little bit of UI stuff just to figure out what that'll be like. But yeah, I mean, yeah, so Ren is weird, but most of the time it behaves the way you expect it to, and it's no problem. I run into weird stuff mostly when I'm dealing with inheritance, I think. That's. I mean, I'm being serious about it. I think it's weird, in some ways, but I do enjoy it. I do really like it as a language. I wouldn't use it for this long, and I wouldn't have pinned myself to it if I didn't. But I do find it odd occasionally. There's. Sorry, not really sure what I want to say. Anyway, let me focus for a moment. It's one of those days. Okay, so over in the view, I have event handling code for things that come out of the model. I suppose that's the problem. I actually don't really know much about Ruby or Erlang, so it does seem very strange to me. There are occasionally things I wish I could do, like just global import everything in a file, rather than this sort of per class, per variable type import, but most of the time it's no problem. This is a big project for me, actually. This game is built on my roguelike example because it's turn-based, and there's a lot of extra junk in there. So, I mean, it's a decent core engine for things. I built another roguelike with it for 70RL, and I was happy with it. But it is what it is. That's the hope. Yeah, because I've got that little prototype FPS engine put together already. I would like to use it to try and make something. That's actually, so one of the things that I put into Dome 130 is stuff for manipulating graphics data so that I can basically use those for textures for 3D stuff. Which is way out of what Dome is supposed to be used for, but it worked, so I've sort of committed to it now. Wanted to prove to somebody that I can make 3D things if I want to. I just don't want to half the time. I mean, this really isn't the engine for it, but it's fine. So now I need a crash animation. No such thing. Is that no such thing as an engine that's wrong for making 3D stuff? Or just, yeah. It's a bit tricky holding a conversation over Twitch because of the delay between what I say and, yeah. Okay, yeah. It really, I have to be really careful with that kind of rendering because it's all handwritten software rendering that I've cobbled together, so it's horrendous. At some point I probably should just remove all of that and just default back to SDL since I'm already including it. Just don't want to give them the satisfaction. What am I doing? So, no. A lot of the way that Dome is built, API-wise, comes from Pico 8. I started most of my game dev career. Well, I wouldn't say that. A lot of the games I liked to make, I used the Pico 8 for in Lua. And when I wanted to make bigger projects after making something in that, exporting out from there felt really uncomfortable. But I liked the API. I liked being able to manipulate individual pixels and draw stuff in that style. And I make pixely games, so it worked out fairly well. So I wanted to keep that sort of API. The thing that bugged me when I was doing stuff with the Pico 8 is that I would start a new project and then have to go to a previous project and find my facsimile of an object-oriented system that I could import back over, and then I could kind of have objects again, rather than horrific metatable things. But it would never quite behave the way that you think it would, because Lua is weird in other ways from how Ren is weird. Oh, that's the other thing, Lua is weird because of things like having one-indexed arrays, which you forget about until later. And switching from Lua to my day job and back again was annoying and caused all kinds of issues. So Ren is a step up from that as far as I'm concerned, because at least it feels like a professional language. Although professionals do write things in Lua, and it's fine. Just, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Sometimes you have to abandon the previous stuff. Although, then again, my day job partially involves TypeScript, which is like an amputation. Not quite what I want to say. Like a big prosthetic on top of an amputation that is JavaScript. So. If I just try and print things, it's not going to work, is it? I suppose it will if it's... Okay, so yeah, so canvas.print crashed. Oh no. 0. I've got 2 things in there now, so next up after that would be 20. Probably. I think the text is actually a bit smaller than that, but it's fine. And then if t is greater, if it's been there for, say, 60 by put that in 60 by 3 seconds. And we'll say that done is true, and then this can disappear. How much did I break that then? So that actually wouldn't call it as breaking, would it? So let's go over here. Oh, that was odd. Oh, I know what's up. That's because I'm just an idiot. Okay. Animation. It's because I'm trying to draw stuff in the update step, which is a stupid thing to do. But okay, so I was talking a bit about the way that I've designed Dome in particular, and it's got a couple of different influences on it. So I wanted that API that comes with the Pico 8, where you have this very fine-grained pixel grid to work with, which is sometimes just really freeing for the kinds of games I like to make. but I also wanted to be able to use sprites, and I wanted to be able to use external resources that other people had made. The thing that would happen is I'd make a game in the Pico 8, someone would offer to make music, and I tell them, sorry, I can't accept your music because I have to buy you a copy of the Pico 8 first. And that's not really a great thing for anybody, it feels bad. And also just being able to use other music and images and all sorts. So that was another thing. I wanted to be able to use those resources. I wanted to be able to work with other people on a project. But also, I wanted to be able to give my game to somebody and for them to just be able to play it. And Pico 8 actually does this very well. It exports an executable and exports to the web. I can't do web with Dome yet. That's coming in the future, I think. But I had in the past a game that I made with Python, and we could not, for the life of us, get it bundled up as an executable for every platform. It would not behave. And it was awful. It was the worst thing. So I've put a ton of work into making sure that I can just give somebody a Dome executable and it will run. And it does, pretty much, for the most part. I don't think I've had any problems for a while with it. But then again, people rarely play my games, so maybe not. Okay, this should work now. Let's see, so. And yeah, there we go, it says crashed up here, and then that should disappear, and then we can start playing again. That's probably going to get replaced by, like, explosions or something, I don't know. It probably doesn't need to halt the game loop to do that either, but it kind of does based on the fact that this is a thing. That's also a 3-second one, get a lot there. Let's just do that for a second. Yeah, the hope with this game, I suppose, is that it kind of makes you think about what you do, because you have to plan around corners, basically, is the idea. But I suppose you need a better view of what's coming up ahead to be able to make that judgment, because with the screen this size, you can't really tell. And with a board this size, you can't actually go at any real speed, so I guess that's an issue as well, game design-wise. Yeah, but so the tagline for Dome is that it's the comfortable framework, and that's because it's meant to be comfortable for me to use. I wanted a toolkit that I felt comfortable using for any event, any game jam, any whatever, straight off the bat. I wouldn't have to re-implement a bunch of things, and I could just make what I wanted, and then give it to somebody, and they could just play it. No hassle, no effort, really. So it gives you just enough of the things you need to do what you want to do, but no more than that, because every game is different, and you often need specific things for each game. So I try not to put things that are only useful for certain games. That doesn't always happen. Obviously, there are some things that are sort of specialist, but it's finding a balance where that's possible. And I think I've done a pretty good job for the most part. It's not much, but I am really proud of this. That felt cool. I would like it if it could tell you which selections would increase your speed. I think that would be useful, because you kind of imagine that, although how you signify that in a sensible way, I don't know. These are problems for later. I just care about mechanics right now. Maybe the top speed should just come down. Or it could make the screen bigger, I guess. Let's find out what happens if I do that. Normally, have games with a very small canvas. That's the map. that's weird. That's bizarre. Yeah, that's... Oh, did it hit, like, the limit of what OS X can actually render by doing that? That must be it. Okay. That's fine. That's not a thing that I necessarily broke, so I don't have to worry about it. I was afraid that, like, I'd have to fix a dome bug on stream, and that would be probably quite interesting to dig into at another time. But not right now. Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of doing little bursty bits of work on Dome. I just finished all the upgraded input stuff that people were asking for, because it was something that was hurting me as well, is that I had a library that I was moving from project to project to project that would do the same thing with regards to handling input, and there's no reason for that if the engine can handle it, and it could. So, and that's really what I use as a way of figuring out if I need to put something in, is if I'm moving it into every project, it probably shouldn't be a library, it should be in the engine. Or at least in the core. I struggle with calling Dome an engine, because in my mind at least, an engine is more full-featured than the framework that Dome is. Does that make sense? Like, you expect when someone says game engine, you expect like Unity or Unreal or Lux, where you kind of get an object on the display and its properties and event handling and all sorts, rather than an executable and a blank document that you have to implement everything else in. So I do struggle with calling it an engine, but it sounds cooler. Okay, so if I... Okay, yeah. So the maps will definitely have to be bigger for this game, I think, if I want to do cool races with it. Well, I suppose that the question is what is an engine in game design, game development terms? What qualifies you for that? I mean, the other thing is I've built level editors for my games in Dome. At that point, does it count as an engine? Don't know. The last game that I made was Rhythm Drive, and that has a secret level editor built into it, because that's how I put the stuff in for that. Because trying to do sound-based levels, or level, it's only got one, by ear and a text document was not going to fly with me, so I had to make a whole editor so that I could go forward and backward in the audio track and then put in notes. So, yeah. Maybe it's more of a toolkit than an engine? I don't know. What does game engine even mean anymore? Sorry, I'm rambling again. Okay, so that's an interesting take on it. So that makes sense, because then you've got something like SDL, which is a library and it's a framework, because you need to hook it up to your code in order to do anything, I suppose. Whereas Dome at least wraps up the Ren interpreter and binds SDL in and handles your other dependencies for you. So it's about as standalone as you can get with that sort of setup. That makes sense. Alright, I'm on board with this. I like it. Sorry, I am just enjoying clicking around. It is really satisfying. Well, maybe that's just me. I'm enjoying it. Okay. I probably don't need all of that reporting, although tidy up. Don't need here anymore. Let's just remove some dead code while we're here. Refactor occasionally, it's good. Like in some ways, it's. I mean, I know it. I know the code base for Dome and the architecture for Dome inside and out. So to me, it is a horrible kludge of a million things that I've put together. But it does damn work. Just wish that I'd done something differently sometimes. And I can always go back and do them, I just don't want to put that time in right now. I think I'm probably done for the evening. That's sort of the limits of what I wanted to do with this little test stream. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me on this rambling adventure. It's been good to chat with you all. Hopefully we'll do another one of these. I mean, I might do a bit tomorrow when I figure out what I do next. I might do a bit of art as well, because I need to start making this thing look kind of pleasant at some point. So I could just sit and chat and do pixel art on stream. I got a sprite up just in case. So yeah, it could be fun. Yeah, I'm gonna head off. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good evening. And catch you later.